Charlotte.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Usually it's about at 7 p.m. that we go live, but we had some couple of things we had to take care of at the very last minute. So we're about pretty much 36 minutes late on this one here. So tonight it's going to be just me and YR for the time being. Paul 3 is unable to make it for our episode today. And
Yeah, so like the topic we're gonna switch to next week or another time because it's best for all people to be here on, especially like certain topics, like
Mhm,
because I don't know a lot about prog rock, and that's a big Paul Three and Dave Rose deal, and obviously Brown.
mhm, mhm.
So I thought, we thought it's best. Let's wait. You know what I mean? I don't want to do
Wait
some
till next
half-ass
week.
prog.
Wait till
Yeah, I don't
next
want to do
week.
some half-ass prog rock show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I
But
know.
this we look this week. Try to get Dave on because we have a few news pieces.
Hmm.
Last week's news was so huge. I mean, and it could be like this next week. Like our this remind me, we got to look at this lineup for this Welcome to Rockville thing that's
Yeah,
actually going to be in your
the state that
stadium coming up this week.
the state that I live in.
Uh,
Yes, exactly.
did you? I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Like, obviously the big hitters, but like bands like Good Charlotte. That's a band that hasn't done anything in a while. I mean, I know that's not really everyone's
Not my
taste, but
thing.
that's a band that was huge in 2000s, a couple big songs, and then like did a couple things, and they went away for a while, and now I guess
Hmm.
they're coming back. That's interesting. It's
I
very
agree.
interesting. But like a lot of like a few news pieces for this week. Really, the Alice in Chains drummer. We got an update on that, and
Yeah.
I just want to throw this out for the I guess you call it a topic. It's more of a rumor. It's more of a like when you fantasy book matches for professional wrestling.
Yes, exactly.
Like we're fantasy booking a possible reunion. And look, you can never say never in wrestling. You can never say never in music because I've seen two things I've seen in the past. So
All right.
that I say I could never, you know what I'm saying, would imagine. But Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin reunion,
Wow.
what would be better, what would be more popular, what will more be bigger, all that is pretty much the topic for tonight. But in order to get to the topic, Brown, we've got to get to the news. You
Yeah.
know what I
Let's
mean?
get
The
to
rock news, the music news.
like yeah. Let's talk about. Let's start off with Rockville 2025. I'm looking at the lineup right now. I'm looking at welcome to rockville.com as we speak. The lineup for this Rockville Festival coming up: Lincoln Park, Green Day, Corn, Shinedown, Bad Omens. I've never really heard of them. Incubus, I've
They
heard of it.
actually they're one of the bands that opened for on that Lincoln Park tour.
Hmm.
They're like a metalcore scream. I don't want to say screamo, but they're screaming. Like not all the music is screaming because he's a singer too. So I
Uh
don't know what
huh.
do you call that metalcore or whatever. It's good sound, but
It's
yeah,
kind of like
they opened
metalcore,
for
yes. I guess that's how
they're the
they
hot
describe it.
they're like a hot newer band type
Hmm.
thing, and so they opened for they're pretty good. Here, I'll read out the rest because I found the list too. Rob
Right.
Zombie,
Yep.
Good Charlotte. That's
Y-
what I'm saying. That's major.
yep.
Pierce the Veil. I never heard of them. Sublime with Bradley knows.
Brad
His
Noah's
son,
son. Yep.
and it is the original. It is the classic lineup with the bass player and drummer because that Rome thing. It was only the bass player. They had a new drummer and all that. So like
Yes.
this Sublime what you're getting right now is really good. Now they came out with a bunch of tours, or where they came out with a tour and they're doing a bunch of festivals. They're doing some other dates. Nothing in Texas, but that's one I'm got my eye on. This newly formed Sublime.
Yes.
Marilyn Manson.
Yep. Who's been
Marilyn
hot?
Manson doing House of Blues, doing like all sorts of stuff, doing this tour with Chevelle, POD,
Mhm.
Knocked Loose. Three
Not
Days
Goose.
Grace.
With Adam Gonter, I guess his name is pronounced, if I'm correct. And here's a band we haven't heard in a while. Hailstorm, they're going to be back as well, featuring, of course, the ever so lovely and talented Lizzie Hale. Mudvayne is also included. I Prevail, The Pretty Reckless, featuring the former actress from Gossip Girl, Taylor Monstead, who was really talking about a transformation when she came out as a big fan of Marilyn Manson, the goth metal genre. And she's been featured many times in Revolver, Hottest Chicks in Metal issues many times, along with, of course, Lizzie Hale, obviously grabbing the top spot. Jimmy Eat World is also included in this bill. Motionless in White, who was a big popular alongside Black Veil Brides in the emo rock genre. Beartooth, I don't know much about them. Macedon, I've heard them about them many times in the past. Social Distortion, an old favorite. You know, you got one time, you got sometime YR, you got to look up their song Mommy's Little Monster from the early 80s. It was pure punk. It was pure punk back then. Of course, in time, they kind of converted toward more greaser, more country, rock kind of stuff like Ball and Chain. That was a big hit at Lipstick's nightclub back in the day, that's for sure.
Lipstick. Now all the rest of the band. I mean, there's like Bush.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a bunch of other bands I'm scrolling down we never heard of. I mean, Bowling for Soup's gonna be there.
Yep.
Finger 11.
Take It Back Sunday.
Um,
Chevelle is who you mentioned a while ago. Acid Bath.
PO, POD. I mean, Filter. A lot of everything's gonna be there. I mean,
Mm-hmm. I'm
Brown.
still
I don't know
looking
why
at it
you're
right
not gonna
now.
be Brown. Are you? How far are you away? It's gonna be at the fucking NASCAR Speedway, Daytona.
Mm.
Brown, how far are you away from Daytona?
I'm checking right now. Give me a couple minutes here. Let me look
And
here.
this is a Danny Wimmer. This is a Danny Wimmer produced festival, and those are the best. So this is like the best. This is really the best you can get, man.
What's it
I mean, I know it
location?
like it started. Daytona. It's Daytona Speedway. It's gonna be in Florida.
Daytona.
You know, it starts week with like Lincoln Park, Green Day, or whatever, but like you still got Corn, Bush, this Good Charlotte reunion, this newly formed Sublime, which is a treat. The Marilyn Manson guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
2 hours and
you know,
60 minutes. And it's you have to
well,
go up above, I guess, map wise above north of Orlando.
all right, let me see how much a pass is.
Mm-hmm. Another
So
another. Go ahead.
if you wanna single GA,
Mm-hmm.
it's and everything, and taxes and everything, fees. The final price is going to be basically $200,
Really?
which is not bad. Which is not bad.
Which
Not
is
bad. Now it
interesting.
depends on.
Which is kind of surprise, the big old rock festival that it is. It would usually generate about thousands of dollars for this or that.
Get that in the drinks and all that shit, but you gotta know that get like you're gonna get a good mixed crowd and stuff, but it's not like a young person's rap festival. Number one, so
Mm-hmm.
festivals do vary. The pricing depends, like you're saying, obviously, but that's not bad. I would hit that if they just never have festivals in Texas.
I
They
know.
have, I mean, and if they do, it's like the Austin scene and all that crap. So they don't
Austin
really,
City Limits.
you know what I mean? They don't.
Yep.
Yeah, like they do the South by Southwest bullshit. Like.
Oh yeah.
But this looks good, man. Brown, if you can do this, May 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th,
Mm.
which is that's this weekend. It
This
starts
weekend?
today.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah,
Kind of
it started today.
kind of threw me off balance because I thought it was going to be about a couple months or two or a few weeks.
Nah,
Oh
May
wow.
15th through 18th, 2025.
Oh shit.
2 hours away. 2 hours away. $200.
Mm.
$100 an hour.
Wow.
And you
Interesting.
got look. Like Park thing's really cool live. I saw him, so that's pretty cool. Like Green Day. I mean, you're like full of all these bands have hits. I mean, that's the most important. Like the worst thing, and people like the new bands, and you have to listen to new bands to obviously learn their music. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Mammoth kind of fan, but I don't
Yep.
really. You need to have time to listen to music, and I don't know. I like I dive into new songs all the time, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
This really only looking at like Green Day, Corn. I mean Bush, Zombies, cool. The
Mm-hmm.
Good Charlotte,
Yeah.
Sublime. I mean, it is like it's like not a bunch of old, 70s. But I mean, it's like a bunch of this new, or I mean, this is kind of
Kind of like in
this is
between when you think about it there, because when you
yeah,
look at
it's
it, corn,
nice.
when you look at it, corn is kind of like in between those two sets there, because corn's been around since the mid 90s, and they're considered now almost close to the classic rock period there.
Here, I'm gonna
According to
see what
many,
uh, like what's on Saturday. I'm gonna see who's headlining and like who. Let me see.
you know what show
Oh, here we go.
you'll go ahead.
So yeah, like Saturday, Lincoln Park's headlining.
Hmm.
Incubus is before them. Pierce the Veil, I Prevail, Barrel Tooth, Mastodon. So like other bands that aren't big but obviously known. POD, Hoobastank. So like that's kind of cool. Is Bush on that day? Let me
Yeah,
see.
I'm not too sure. Mm.
That's interesting. They're gonna have Lincoln Park to headline. So let me see. So Friday, let me see Friday. So Green Day's headlining Friday. Good Charlotte's before Green Day, opening for Green Day. Sublime is
Mm.
opening for Good Charlotte. Whoa, Jimmy Eat
Yes,
World,
Jimmy.
Bush,
Yeah, all
Newfound
90s act.
Glory. Oh my God.
So I guess you could call that day 90s Day
This
because most of the
lineup
bands
on
are from the 90s.
Friday, folks. This lineup on Friday is on Everclear,
Mm-hmm.
for Candlebox,
Mm-hmm.
Bowling for Soup,
Yep.
Dorothy, newer band or whatever, a chick,
Mm-hmm.
um, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, bro.
Mm.
Friday's set list or Friday's lineup kills Saturday's lineup.
Who?
Why you gotta when you go to these festivals and they're multi days, it doesn't mean the band you want to see is gonna play every day. They're gonna play
I know.
some play one, some play two, just depends. But this started Wednesday, so let me see who was on Wednesday. Pop Evil, Non-Point, Josie Scott, the original voice of Saliva.
Yep, I remember him.
Not really a band called Breed, so not really a big lineup for Wednesday. What's Thursday, which is tonight?
Yeah.
Shinedown.
Mm.
Shinedown is headlining. Rob Zombie is opening for Shinedown, which is
Oh,
weird.
interesting. Wow.
But Rob Zombie was just put on this, and this is breaking news. Rob Zombie was just added to this festival because Down was supposed to be there, and all that happened. They canceled all their shows, so Rob
Who?
Zombie is replacing Three Doors Down.
Ah, I see there.
And Pretty Reckless, Trivium. So look, Thursday's lineup really isn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Horn, Bad Omens, Marilyn Manson, Mudvayne, Bell, Trip, Daughtry, Insane Clown Posse. There you
Ah,
go.
there you
One of Paul Three's favorite bands. Yeah, ICP.
go.
Seven Dust, Filter. Yeah, so honestly, bro, best damn lineup.
Oh, wow, interesting. Very interesting. There's one show I think you posted that I'm really intrigued and check it out. Judas Priest and Alice Cooper together
Yeah, they're not going to be.
in
They're
Florida.
going to be. Yeah, they're going to be in. Check to see if they're going to be there.
Okay,
I'm
let
not
me
sure. I'm
see
pretty
here.
sure. I don't know.
Okay, let me get the phone. Alice Cooper, Judas Priest Tour 2025. Okay, here we go. Okay, tour dates for this. Let's see what we got here. Give it a couple of seconds for it to pop up and load up. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I see now. It's just Judas Priest. There we go. Tickets on sale. Let's see here. So far I'm just here we go. JudasPriestCot.com. That's where I'm going to right now because some of the other pages just only list Cooper's tour dates, Priest's tour dates with special guests. Ah, here we go. Let's see here. I'm checking the webpage right now.
I might
Now,
go see that actually.
they're
Yeah.
playing both Houston and Austin. Those are the last two dates of this tour. Sadly, nothing here in Florida. Son of a bitch.
Now, oh yeah, it's the Georgia date, Alpharetta, Georgia.
Ah, I
But I'm
see.
telling you, bro, like that's probably like a. I mean, that's I I doubt that's gonna be just one leg. Because I feel like well,
Oh, wow.
Priest was just here in the fall. So,
hmm
but then the Houston date they had in the fall didn't. They canceled it because of low ticket sales. There was like
Oh,
a bigger venue, and they're charging a little bit more than they should. But
oh, yeah, that's
so they
obvious.
canceled the Houston dates. Last time they went to Houston was when we saw them.
Yes.
So you got to think, and they're playing that show at the Cynthia Woods, bro, the big pavilion, which
Ah,
is also really cool. That's what I'm saying. Like, I
it
might go to
is.
that because to see Priest at the big pavilion. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah. And
And that's
Alice
gonna be
Cooper
fucking
as
crowded.
well.
It's gonna be packed, bro.
It's going to be more than
That's
Pat
gonna be.
because obviously we got two icons, Priest and Cooper. Enough said. I mean, like, and by the way, you said you never been to the Cynthia Woods Pavilion, correct?
No, I've seen Kiss, Poison there.
Oh, yeah.
I've
So I
seen
stand
Jimmy.
corrected.
I've seen Jimmy. I've seen Jimmy Buffett there.
Beautiful place here, no,
Um,
without any question. Because it does remind me of Pine Knob back in Michigan.
it's not has that white like roof that's like a tarp, like you're inside of a tent, right, Brown?
Pretty much, yeah. So, well, I didn't really check out the roof. I was just checking out the pavilion, the lawns area, where the concession stands are, such and such, because it's been about ages since I've been to a Pine Knob, to be exact. And I remember it was like the exact same thing as Pine Knob, but a little bit more difference in this here, the structures of the how the pavilion is set up and everything else. But nonetheless, I would love to check out Priest and Cooper together because I've I saw Alice Cooper back in 2009. I think 2003, I meant to say, when he played the Royal Oak Music Theater, and also checked out Priest twice. Back in '86 when the Turbo was out on the shelves, and of course you and I back in Houston before I moved to Florida here. And it would be nice to see Priest and Cooper again. I will definitely love to look forward to doing that again
Well,
because
go to that Georgia show, Brown.
all right, there. Well, I got to see how far if I need to well to do that. I'll have to take some
Well,
time off of work. Set of how many tickets are on sale. See if we need to drive
Brown,
or
if we would have known about this Rockville thing, cool. If you, I mean, that's not bad. $200, general, you're in.
yep,
Man, that would have been good. That was a lot of newer, not newer. When I say newer, 20 years, 90s. I mean, it's a cool lineup, bro.
it is.
That's a cool that fucking Friday lineup is so goddamn epic, bro. You got Sublime, the new Sublime 2.0,
hmm
Bradley Noel's son with the classic drummer, classic bass player, and then you have fucking Good Charlotte, bro.
So it's
Like
basically
reunited.
well, I guess
Squeeze me. That is a lineup, and then fucking Green Day. What?
You know what this sounds like? It's a '90s, a flashback for the kids in the '90s. It's a '90s day, no doubt, because all the
2000s,
yep,
like
early
bro,
2000s, yeah,
Hailstorm, Storm. You got the new bands with the Chicks,
yep,
the one that opened for ACDC.
yes,
Pretty Reckless is there.
yes.
You got all these chick bands. Brad, you might have to think about going to that next year. I don't know how you feel about the '90s stuff, but come on, you gotta.
I would probably
It
go
really
there
is
to
all
check
good,
out
bro. I
Marilyn
don't.
Manson and Rob Zombie without a question there.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not too much of a stickler when it comes to the '90s. Like, I don't get. I don't get like, brother. That is. There's so much good shit in the '90s. Okay, that I was like 5 or 6 years old listening to on the radio in the car. Brown.
Oh, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Alice in Chains, Nirvana, obviously was on the radio a lot. I mean, it's not my favorite, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like Smashing Pumpkins, bro.
Hmm.
Radio, come on, like the '90s, back, bro. They
Mm,
really are. Let's get back to the news though. Speaking of the '90s, the Alice in Chains drummer
yeah,
Joe Kinney. What
Sean
was his?
with
What happened
Sean
with all
Malley.
that? Oh,
Sean,
Sean.
let me see here. Let me look it up for you. All right. Allison Chains drummer, Sean Kinney. That's his name. He is 58 years old, and he is he offers an update on his health after apparently he had a health issue not so long ago. This is from
Yeah, where's the
blabbermouth.net.
where's well here I sent the links. Where's the news and the fucking
Well,
I I only could see concert footage. There's no tags for news.
let's see here.
Let's
Links.
see.
I'm going to links right
Oh, here
now,
we
but
go. Here we go.
all right there.
So yeah,
So,
Sean Kinney thing. So basically, like before they canceled a bunch of shit, like 5 shows, 6 shows, 7 shows. Like they canceled. This was last week.
uh-huh.
Trying to scoot back out. Was forced to cancel his concert, but there was more canceled, non-life threatening medical, blah blah blah. He was part of this festival, and then I heard a guy, a fan of Alice in Chains Brown. Him and his wife wanted like basically uh, made plans, vacation plans to go to this festival just to
Mm,
see. I mean, because of Alice in Chains, that was the reason, and so they had to cancel all their plans. So I mean, like people, and they don't want a replacement drummer like that Kenny guy. He's one of the originals
yes.
or the classic lineup, whatever, right? So even for a band like Alice in Chains, which they obviously the singer's gone, and you have like the rest, they would have replaced that drummer. The true Alice in Chains fans who were there, the hardcores there, they would have been pissed.
Yeah.
The general public, not so much. I wouldn't have minded it. I mean, I don't know. Like,
The Marks.
I'm not going out of my way to see. I love Alice Chains, but I'm not really going out of my way to see them. Be honest with you, like they
It would have
kind of like
been
the Green
better.
Day thing.
It would have
They
been
go to stuff
better.
and I don't. No, it's totally interrupting me. Like there's stuff that I may go to that there's opening groups or there's other groups. I'm not really, like a Green Day fan, but like Smashing Pumpkins were, there. So
Mhm.
like Alice in Chains, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like if they're doing a tour with Bush, even though I saw Bush already, that
Yeah.
would be pretty cool. But I'm not really going, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of picky on the concerts. Like there's some deeper stuff, the KK's Priest, some bar shit that you go to, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then there's a big stage. Like honestly, Brown brother, that
Mhm.
Lane Stanley's voice you can't replicate. I don't want to see a replacement. Like that'd probably be the one band, bro. Like I'm not really too like going out of my way to see Alice in Chains right now. Like,
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know why. I'm a big fan, Brown, but I don't know. I'm not too much into that new singer. Like I don't know.
probably
That's
because
the one exception. Yeah.
I think of the reason being is because, Lane Stanley, he offered some sort of a paranoia to his lyrics and the way he sang it a lot of times. Whereas the current guy, William, what's his name, he sings almost exactly like Lane Staley, but yet he's missing that Erica, that intensity that Stanley provided on those Alice in Chains records. And I know you probably you mentioned it'd be nice if Lane Stanley was still alive, but keep in mind, don't hate on Alice in Chains for getting a new singer. Hate on Lane Staley for not recovering from his drug issues. He had a lot of them. He was so far gone into the evil age that he just couldn't stop, and lo and behold, that's what ended up taking his life. I mean, when you think about it,
Yeah.
so many we lost Scott Whalen from Stone Temple Pilots and Velvet Revolver, Velvet
Yeah.
Revolver
See,
from
like, bro,
drugs as well.
when it comes to, I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest. I was offered to go to Foreigner
Hmm.
this year, and I might go just because they are bringing Lou Graham on for 3 songs at the end. That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
But like I'm really a stickler on the singers, bro. Like I want to see the real singers if they still got it, blah blah blah, whatever. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I'm not one to see these replacement guys with the band. I mean, like, so like honestly, I'm not the STPs, the Alice in Chains. I'm not getting out of my seat and going to, you know what I'm saying? Like
would
if
you
they're on
say
some type of, you know.
carbon copies? Needless to say, would you say the same thing about Great White?
Yes, because honestly, all of that Foreigner, blah blah blah. I mean, they might have a original guitar, but whatever. Like honestly, seeing that and not the original singer,
Yeah,
I just rather pay the $10-15 and see the tribute. Who actually, they with the cloned voices out there of a
yeah.
lot of these, obviously the singer of Journey, obviously Ripper Owens. So you know what I mean. I'd rather have more joy in that than spending the top dollar and seeing the band that's not even really. And look, we're gonna get into the Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin because the guitar player and the singer are the most important parts, and that's usually
Yeah.
where you get these days
I know.
is the
We gotta
pairs.
talk.
But
We Yeah, definitely gotta talk about that because I never heard about it as well.
what in the Kenny Joe news or whatever, from
Sean Kenny.
John Kenny um,
Go ahead.
from Alice in Chains. I mean, it's a not. He came out today or something. It's a non-life
Yes.
threatening thing. He didn't get specific or nothing. But everything's good, and
Let me read you the
he's
statement
you know
that he
yeah.
issued. He said, quote unquote, firstly, to everyone that came out to the Mohegan Sun show and was affected by the short notice cancellation, and to everyone who had tickets to come see the band at one of the other shows, thanks for your understanding. It's not lost on the band and myself that you spent money. Make plans and alter your schedules to come see us, and it's deeply disappointed to have this happen. I was very much looking forward to getting back on out there and playing with the band again. And it has been difficult but necessary decision to make. I don't personally utilize social media and I'm particularly not fond of my health issues being made public, but I understand that people are concerned. When the doctors advised me against playing in the short term, I quickly went through the 5 stages of grief. 1, denial, I'm fine. 2, anger, fuck this, I'm still gonna play. 3, bargaining, what's it gonna take for me to hear a better diagnosis? 4, depression, oh man, this sucks. And 5, acceptance. This sucks, but I'm okay. I finally concluded that medical doctors with many hard earned degrees on their walls might know a bit more about health than a musician with some shiny spray painted records on the wall. The outpouring of love and concern and well wishes have been extremely humbling and very much appreciated. The good news is I'm going to be fine and I'm going to live. The bad news for some of you is that I'm going to be fine and I'm going to live. Now, what was it that he was having issues with? Was it heart problems and such, I guess?
He didn't really say anything, man.
Okay, so it's probably oh, speaking of issues, I saw this on the People magazine while grocery shopping with my sister earlier today. Apparently, you remember Michael Bolton?
Yes.
He has brain cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me look it up for you right now. Blah blah blah. Come on, come on, come on. Hate when this happens. There we go. Let's get this here. All right. Michael Bolton, brain cancer. Okay. Michael Bolton, who you remember had many soft rock hits in the 1990s, publicly revealed that he was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of brain cancer in December of 2023. He underwent emergency surgery to remove a brain tumor, followed by another surgery in January 2024 due to an infection. He has also completed radiation and chemotherapy treatment. Bolton has been open about his battle with I guess it's pronounced gly- glioblastoma, I guess it's called. Shared details about his treatments and his recovery. He has spoken about the impact of the disease on his short term memory, speech, and mobility, but has emphasized his determination to remain active and positive. The man who co wrote the song How Am I Supposed to Live Without You, originally recorded by the late Laura Branigan and later redone by him years later, has also discussed the importance of family support during his recovery. He has chosen to not receive a prognosis, focusing on living every day and remaining hopeful. Bolton's experience has brought a renewed attention to this particular cancer that has significant other devastating consequences. All right. I saw that, just read for that for you folks. I was not aware of it myself. But then again, I'm not big on Michael Bolton. Though I admit he had about one or two songs that I did enjoy years ago there. One of them being that
All
one
right.
ballad from 1987. All right, so let's get to the meat of the matter here. The meat and potatoes, as they put it. Reunions of possibly Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. So how did this came about?
So, basically, it's being talked about, and it sprouted from well, the Sphere in Vegas, right?
Hmm.
And, the Eagles and
Yep.
the Dead and Co. with John Mayer and Bob Weir's on there,
Bob Weir, yes.
and U2 started out, and people in the industry and people in Live Nation and people that are in that sphere. Um, no pun intended.
Hmm.
Talking about what rock band? I mean, I know you choose rock or whatever, but like, what be like the best rock thing? I mean, Fish has played there, I think, too. But what rock band could kind of really make the most sense there? And everyone's saying the biggest thing. I mean, Pink Floyd. Okay. But then that conversation got sprouted to, well, obviously the duos is kind of what you get these days when these older bands, the Angus Youngs, Brian Johnsons, you're getting the Gene Simmons, the Paul Stanleys, you're getting Any others? I mean, you're getting Lars Ulrich and James
James Hetfield.
Hetfield.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can throw in what's his name there too, but you get what I'm saying. Like most, I mean, you want to see the guitar play, you want to see the singer. And you got that with Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, still, guys. Do you have that? Um, I mean, for God's sakes, Robert Plant has his own band. What is it called? Saving Anus.
Saving no, saving saving grace, dude. He put
Saving
together
Grace.
the project back in 2019.
So he has some lame ass like bluegrass band or whatever. They play on mandolins and bullshit. No one wants to hear that. Okay.
Well, let's not
Now what
forget
I
it was
now
that kind of stuff that helped influence Zeppelin. And let's not
yeah, but
forget
come on,
it
bro.
was also
Like,
featured, the mandolin was also featured on one of their most notable songs, The Battle of Evermore, featuring the late singer Sandy Denny, co-vocaling with Plant.
Brown.
Yeah.
Well, let me pick your brain because you were around in those days when these bands were actually you know a thing
Yeah.
everywhere and everything. But like, and it is a hard one. But like, and you can break it down in different things. But like overall, I think. Would you agree that Led Zeppelin has a bigger and more well known catalog of songs than Pink Floyd?
Well, I do know that if both bands were to tour to get reunited, tour together, it'd have to be, of course, as going to have somebody back it up that other spot. For example, Richard Wright, who was the co-founder and keyboardist for Pink Floyd, he died in 2008 from cancer.
Yeah, no
So,
one. It doesn't matter if I'm not saying like touring together, Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. They do separate tours, but like
yes,
whoever backing bands they use, is there a classic lineup or original Pink Floyd drummer still alive?
yes, Nick Mason, yep, he is still alive, still functioning today. So
And
Pink Floyd,
even if he wasn't, that really wouldn't honestly matter on the ticket sales. If Pink Floyd came out tomorrow and announced, it doesn't even have to be like a 40-day US tour. I'm talking, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Miami, big city. You can do a 10-date tour. I don't give a shit. 12 dates. Vegas, obviously. Whatever Texas city they choose. Usually it's the Cowboy Stadium. That's the more well-known stadium. So if they announce that tomorrow, bro, with Waters and Gilmore on the advertisement,
mhm,
let's just start with Pink Floyd on this one.
mhm.
Well, you didn't really answer my question though. You would agree that Led Zeppelin has a bigger catalog?
It's well, I know it's kind of hard to say because both bands are absolutely huge because there's
That's what I'm
songs that,
saying.
yeah, exactly. So it's a kind of tough decision to it's a kind of tough answer to
That's what I'm
for
saying.
me
This,
to come up
bro.
with.
This, and we can get back to. I think it's Led Zeppelin. I think more people, more casuals, everything know more
Mark,
Zeppelin than Floyd. You can
yeah,
definitely get more out of it with
yeah,
Zeppelin. Uh, and I know the pig song, and all those albums, and the dogs, and all that. Those are good
yes.
too with Floyd. And some of the '80s stuff is pretty cool. I like that one song. Like the '80s one that was a big hit for Floyd.
Learning to
Forgive me.
fly.
Yeah, I think it is. Doom, down, 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 down. Yeah, they're in the fly.
Dun, dun,
So like
da,
really,
da, 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 da.
like you know, '70s was the best for both of these bands. We do have to agree, but like, let's just start with Floyd. Waters tours all the time or whatever. I mean, there was
Yes,
definitely a run that he was touring a lot past decade, but making more news for the Trump stuff than anything. Um, Warren Waters announced Pink Floyd limited tour, limited dates, U.S. I mean, I'm sure they'll do some Europe stuff, but
Hmm.
I mean, just give me a 25 world tour, whatever over there in Europe. Maybe just a couple in the UK area, whatever, right?
Hmm.
Just a few shows over there, but like in America, you got to hit your Dallases, hit your. I mean, honestly, I think they would hit Miami over anything in Florida. I don't know, but there could be some, maybe the Hard Rock. I don't know. It would definitely be. It has to be a stadium. It would definitely be. These are, I mean, but Zeppelin and Pink Floyd are going to be stadiums, soccer stadiums, NFL stadiums, and they're not going to have. They're not no opening acts. I mean, they might do the pretty like Stones had Pretty Reckless, AC/DC had Pretty Reckless, but that's just to fill in the time. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's not. Um, obviously Metallica, it's a different story. They're bringing on Pantera, they're bringing on Limp Bizkit, they're bringing on Five Finger Death Punch, they're bringing on other bands opening for them on this last thing tour they've been touring since like 2022, 21, something like that. I think it's 22 they started
Hmm.
the M72 tour, but you don't have to worry about no opening acts. Better it's going to be like big names. Like who's going to open for Led Zeppelin? Is it going to be the Black Crow? Which that would be cool. The Black Crow's opening for Led Zeppelin in 2025. That would make a lot of sense. But I mean, look, I say that, and maybe it's just a circumstantial thing. Like Aerosmith was going to have Black Crows open for them on their farewell tour. So maybe like certain farewell tours, some of these groups might have a bigger name, not a bigger name, but a big name open for them because Aerosmith didn't need to have, but that made a lot of sense. And that would have been a hell of a, Black Crows and Aerosmith, man. But that would be really huge, man. Pink Floyd announces tomorrow Waters, Gilmore, 25, 30 world tour date tour, 30 date tour. Um, and honestly, I really wouldn't, honestly, like, I would be more excited for the Zeppelin thing. Like, some of that, you would have to have mad visuals. You know what I mean? Light
Hmm.
show. I mean,
Yeah.
huge laser show. Obviously, would be with the Pink Floyd thing.
Well, obviously.
Um, but honestly, because Zeppelin's still kind of reunion one show for the O2 thing. Like, when was Gilmore and Waters on stage together doing stuff last? Brown.
Well, that was back. Well, you let's go back to the reunion they did in Live 8 2005. They did about uh they did about 4 songs together.
I didn't even know about
Breathe.
that. So look,
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that. So like, they obviously probably played people knew, 4 songs people knew, Breathe, others, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but that's even more like, so it is possible because I was thinking they didn't do nothing since 40 years ago or something like. I mean the 80s thing, that 80s song, whatever, right? I was talking about
Yeah.
learning to fly.
Yes, I believe that's the one you're referring
So
to.
like I was just thinking, what I'm saying, but like if they did this 20 years ago, brother, you know what, I guess something like a new problem between the two got created in the past 20 years. Now, like, whatever disagreements they had, they still have now, the same ones, but they can actually step on stage and they prove that, like you said, at the Live Aid 20 years ago. So did Led Zeppelin, like kind of around the same time, like mid 2000s or something, maybe a little bit later. They did Celebration Day, maybe 2009, 2010. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was in 2007.
No, it's 2007. Okay,
Yep.
so a little bit later on in 2000s, but bro, I mean, look, there's not a lot of bands that I don't want to say sell out, but like pretty much do stadiums, NFL, football, or soccer stadiums when they're overseas in Europe. Um, that don't need an opener band. I mean, like AC/DC is like one, obviously. Obviously Floyd and Zeppelin would be two bands that wouldn't need an opener. I mean, I'm telling you, Metallica, for how them being the best and like really great live and blah blah blah. They have openers that are names Pantera, for Christ's sake. Okay, like Limp Bizkit, dude.
Hmm.
I mean, get the fuck out of here. So Metallica still, I don't want to say they need with supporting acts, but maybe that does help because it is what it is on that. Now, if you can go out there and not need, I mean, look at Iron Maiden. They had some Mongolian throat metal band called the HU, open on their last tour, and that was, I kind of, after 30 minutes, I was walking around out in the concessions. I kind of got on my fill of that for a minute there, but that's not a name. So like Maiden doesn't need a name. I mean, is it cooler if you have a name open? Yes, way cooler than someone you never heard of. But it is what it is. Like Pretty Reckless was cool, but like would have been cooler if like I don't know, throw in an Everclear, throw in I mean, Bush is a little bit too. I don't know, like throw in one of those bands that had a couple good songs in the '90s that were
No.
still a pretty good name. Like throw in a Silverchair. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
but yes, you
Silverchair,
got
I don't.
pretty.
Well, Silverchair, I don't know if they're still functioning because they only had about two records here in the States, and that was it.
But I'm just saying, like, it is nicer. Like the Metallica thing was perfect, bro. It was great. You know, Death Five Finger, Pantera. I mean, that was come on.
Well,
But the point, yeah, go ahead.
let me say this regarding the Live Aid show that I mentioned earlier. That was not the first time Waters and Gilmore have been on stage for how many years. The Waters made an appearance when David Gilmour did a benefit show solo, as for some benefit show in England there. It was quite a surprise. And to repay the favor, Gilmour made an appearance for Roger Waters' presentation of The Wall at the O2 Arena. And it's on YouTube. When he makes that appearance, during the song Comfortably Numb, the audience just erupted with huge praise, love, applause. People shouted, David Gilmour, yay! Because Waters and Gilmour beefed for how many years? You recall back in around 1986, Waters sued to prevent both Nick Mason and Gilmour from using the Pink Floyd name. He wanted to dismantle
Well,
Pink Floyd.
thing, Brown, is
And all in all, he ended up with egg in
just
his face because they got Richard Wright back in the band and they carried on without Waters. So Waters ended up being the loser in the end.
so the issue is that you have this Black Sabbath thing coming on, and it's going to be the last of the last of the last.
Yep.
And yes, you had I think it was called the End Tour or something with
Yes.
Sabbath.
Yes.
That was technically the End Tour, and if you missed that, you missed that. But it is more appropriate to have like a farewell type of deal. I know a lot of bands come back and they lie and they don't, but I mean, even George Lynch, Lynch Mob is ended, but now George Lynch has this new band called George Lynch and the Mob
Mm,
doing festivals and everything. So,
wow.
you know what I mean? Like, it's no band really ever ends until they die, usually, and history proves itself. I mean, the Motley Crue, the biggest joke of them all, doing that whole big deal and then they coming back. But like Pink Floyd, I mean, we're talking.
We're talking.
This is like your Led Zeppelins, your Pink Floyds. These aren't just like songs or whatever, guys. Musical songs. These are like
These are entities.
ma- these are masterpieces of art that are blueprints. A lot of the '70s stuff is blueprints for later music later on. I mean,
Yes.
I really believe a lot of that Floyd stuff. inspired to an extent some of the synthesizers being used in the 80s and some of that new wave stuff. Would you agree with that, or
Oh, it was Pink Floyd influenced a lot of things. I mean,
that's what
like,
I'm saying?
would you believe it?
So
Would you
like
Dream Theater?
we got to move on to Zeppelin. We can't get into the whole history of Floyd here, but go ahead. We got to move
But
on to
well,
Zeppelin.
let
Go
me
ahead.
say, if Waters and Gilmore were to get together with drummer Nick Mason and do a Floyd reunion show or a tour for that matter, they would have to have a psychiatrist or a therapist with them to make sure nothing, no issues come about between those two because they went back and forth, so many times in the press for the past couple of years. In fact, Waters got called out by Gilmore and his wife because of Waters' political views. That's what's getting him in trouble as of late. Remember, he spoke about the Ukraine Russian war situation, and that in turn got him dropped from his record label, and that got him in big trouble. Waters needs to get rid of the politics. He needs to put that
Yeah, but
aside.
he still, bro. Waters just when he did the tour, and I remember he did a couple that I know of recently. Like he does perform at the NBA arenas, Brown.
Yes, he does.
Big time. Like
Big time.
he's big time arena. So could a Roger Waters do stadiums football? No. Could a Pink Floyd together do it? Absolutely, no doubt about it. Let's. I mean, I want to mix them in both, but like, let's move into the Led Zeppelin stuff because I feel
Yeah,
like there's a little bit less drama there now. The Led Zeppelin. I mean, this is another reason why the Led Zeppelin thing could be possible.
I'm thinking
Is
so.
that movie just came out? Okay, that I saw. Remember the
Becoming
IMAX
Led
one?
Zeppelin. Yes, we spoke about that on one of our earlier
So that
shows.
like a real Led Zeppelin movie at the real theater, like not
hmm
some straight to DVD bullshit or whatever. Like it was real. So that's major. That's huge because like that Bob Marley movie that came out.
Yes.
What happened right after that movie came out? The Marley brothers, all of the Bob Marley sons, came and toured together, dude. That's what I'm saying. This fucking Led Zeppelin movie, look, kind of focused more on Jimmy Page, and that was another thing. Not to get a sidetrack, but there was rumors going around too, Brown, and this is real. This is 1,000% real. That like Angus Young maybe wants to do this for a few more years, and maybe they might replace Brian Johnson on vocals.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
really?
are you okay with? Would you like to see a Led Zeppelin reunion, but like Robert Plant's not on vocals?
No, I
Would that
don't
be
think,
appropriate with
not
you?
really, not really, and I'm sure
Jimmy Page
everybody
does.
else would
That's Jimmy
agree.
Page's band. That's Led Zeppelin is Jimmy Page's band.
Yeah,
That
but
movie was all focused on like it's all about Page, bro.
we all know it was Page was the one to put together Zeppelin in the first place.
I
But
think this is gonna get. I think this is the part where Dave Rose is gonna call in because, bro,
well,
these bands that own the band names, they don't care. Look, you look at Skid Row. They don't get. You know how fucking epic and godly, how much of a god, a rock god, Sebastian Bach is, and Skid Row uses that name, and everyone knows Skid Row up because it's about you see Sebastian Bach, you know what band he's from. Okay,
yeah.
like that's the voice of Skid Row. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, guys. Some of these singers, big bands, like there's these huge acts. Would you mind them not having that singer because maybe can't do it anymore? Maybe Robert Plant's doing this bluegrass country bullshit because he can't sing Led Zeppelin songs anymore. I mean, am I like disrespecting Robert Plant because I said that? Maybe it's just the truth, bro. Maybe he can't do
But
God. I
then,
mean, maybe that's why he didn't do that. He did that one. He did that one Celebration Day DVD tour. Not tour, but day. And everyone was thinking, "Oh, we're gonna do a tour," and nothing happened.
yeah, but of
Eddie
course,
Trunks, Eddie Trunk was gonna go to that, and he was like, "Nah, they're gonna have a tour. They're gonna have a tour after this." And look what happened. So like, Honestly, Brown, would you be offended, or would you even want to see Led Zeppelin without Robert Plant? Would you? I mean, what if it's
No,
someone? What if? I mean, obviously, it had to be a named singer. It had to be a named singer. Would you want to
because
see? Would you want to see a Robinson from the Black Crows lead Led Zeppelin with Jimmy Page on guitar and call it Led
well,
Zeppelin?
no,
Play
I
Led
wouldn't.
Zeppelin
I
too.
would not do see because one, I'm not into Chris Robinson and the Black Crows, and
You're a
plus,
major hater,
maybe,
bro.
well, no, I'm not hating. It's just the fact that
You're all
million,
haters.
no,
You,
no,
Dave, and Paulie
no,
all
no,
hate the Black
no,
Crows for some
no.
weird reason.
I'm just not
You're
into
all a
the.
bunch of fucking
I don't
Oasis
hate the Black
fanboys. Get
Crow.
the fuck out of here.
I don't hate the Black Crows. Just not big on them. But for the to have somebody else
Get big.
in
You need
Led
to go deep
Zeppelin.
on them. Go
Yeah,
under my
but
pride. Big songs like that. Come on.
yeah, why are you got to remember? I started listening to rock and roll back in the later half of the 70s, and now going back
Respect
to
the
Led
Black
Zeppelin.
Crows, bro.
But yeah, but realize. But here's the thing: I don't hate the Black Crows, just not my thing. A cup of tea or a keg of beer.
I know it's a
But
little bit soft and stuff, but like, bro, come on, man.
the thing is, going back to him, Chris Robinson singing for Led Zeppelin, fans, diehards of fans would not probably not accept Chris Robinson because the only voice of Led Zeppelin we know and love is indeed Robert Plant. If
I
Jimmy
know, but I'm
Page,
saying, look, you saw what happened with ACDC and Axl Rose. Come
yeah,
on. It's definitely people do that. And do they want to do that? I don't think they want to do that, but sometimes you have to do that. Does Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd have to tour? No, but like, I don't know. Jimmy Page didn't go to what's his name's funeral,
hmm
or he didn't go. He didn't do the what was that guitar player that just passed away a few years ago?
which one? Jeff
He
Beck?
was cool. Yeah, Jeff Beck. Like he didn't
hmm
go to this Jeff Beck celebration thing that
mm
people were expecting him to maybe attend and play. So I mean, a lot of those big. I mean, bro, these guys are old, man. Once you get close to 80 and touring days are over, pretty much. Like, I mean, there's a few people out there, Sammy and a few
Michael,
others, but
yep.
I get it. Like when you're old, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like they. I mean, you talk about possibly. Now I don't know which one would make more money. Honestly, I mean, it's maybe could be equal.
I think it would be
Now,
more
it,
equal on
would he
both the hands.
would these tours outgross like Taylor Swift? Probably not because she does it multiple days.
Yeah.
Now Oasis is close on that. You know what I'm saying? Oasis will be like a good. Um, it'll you know what I'm saying? We'll see on that. We'll see how. I mean, Oasis is. I feel like they're kind of overrated. Like people are calling them the Beatles and stuff, like the new Beatles
Yeah.
for their time, and I don't get it. I mean, there's a couple songs, but it's
But
like kind
then
of like Nine Inch
again,
Nails. Like I don't get it. Like I don't see it. Just kind of sounds annoying to me. To be honest.
they were called the group Badfinger, the next Beatles, back when they first started out. So they're gonna do that a lot of times. I remember when Queensryche, when Operation Mindcrime was a big hit, along with the album Empire that came afterwards. They were used a lot of visuals, a lot of lighting effects and stuff, and people were starting to call them the heavier version of Pink Floyd, which obviously is not true. But let's so while we talk about Plant and Page, let's not count out John Paul Jones, who was not only the bass player and keyboard player, he also was the mostly the arranger of many of their songs. He contributed heavily as well. And let's not forget, he also did some other stuff when Zeppelin disbanded it back in 1980. He worked with a performance artist named Damalea Gallus for an album called The Sporting Life. He also produced a band called The Mission UK on one of their albums. And The Mission UK, by the way, it was featured former members of the Sisters of Mercy. He's also played with Lenny Kravitz, Prince Idol's favorite, on the MTV Music Awards. And let's not forget also he had a solo album titled The Thunder Thief. And one of the other guys that played with him when I saw him open for King Crimson in 2003 was another unique bass player, Nick Beggs, who used to play with Kaja Google. Remember that song? Too shy, shy, shoo, shoo. Yeah.
Why are we talking about Takagugu? We're talking about Pink
I'm
Floyd and Led
not,
Zeppelin. Brown what?
but
Brown what? Brown what? Let me ask you a question.
yeah.
There's a lot of fucking Pink Floyd fans. I have a inkling. There's like more Pink Floyd fans than Led Zeppelin altogether. Would you agree with that?
No, I think they're both equal. The amount of fans that they
Nah,
both had
for
are
real.
massively, for real, massively equal because
I
their
mean,
songs.
there's no other rock band. There's no other that could do stadiums. I mean, that's not already doing them. Metallica, AC/DC, Oasis. That's
Rolling
kind of it,
Stones,
bro.
Rolling
I mean,
Stones.
Stones,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
That's kind of it, like a handful, like five, 4 or 5 that really only could play stadiums. And in pictures and other things, like, bro, it might not look as big when you're in there. It's just a sea of people. It really is. It's crazy.
Hmm.
It's not the best sound, but you just got to be smart and know how to buy your tickets and know on the map where you know what I'm saying? You got to look at, you kind of have to do, maybe the tour. Or I don't know. You just have to have some common sense and know not to ever get nosebleeds at a stadium. Number one,
Yeah.
and really, bro, there's it's not everything is never honestly sold out at a stadium. Like on a, people show up, especially during the week. Like if you're going to something during the week and you didn't get a good seat, you can find a better, you know, place and stuff. But honestly, Led Zeppelin really would be. I mean, Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd announced tomorrow
Hmm.
30-date world tour. 20-date world tour. Um, Equally huge news ever. Yes, I lean more towards the Led Zeppelin camp than Pink Floyd personally, but I'm not like huge Pink Floyd Led Zeppelin fan either. But I'm a fan for sure. I'm just not a huge
Mark.
freak,
No,
Mark.
not well, not
Even
real.
though, listen, there is a lot there with Zeppelin. There's a lot there with Floyd. Like I feel like Zeppelin leans more towards like more of the important band. Like Led Zeppelin is more of an important band to the music, to the genre, and to the rock genre growing than Pink Floyd, in my opinion. Pink Floyd, obviously, they, you know, have their, thing with the drugs, and I know every band is, but like Pink Floyd was on like with hallucinogenics and blah blah blah, and you know what I mean. There's a little bit more liberal there, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Pink Floyd supports letting migrants in illegally, and
How do we know
you know
for
what I
sure?
mean.
Yeah, but how do we know for sure? Because we have yet to hear David Gilmour mention talk any of that, and most of
Well,
the
just
time.
overall, it's Pink Floyd. It's like a hippie band
Well, that
overall. Would
well
you?
most well that if anybody's going to be supporting that cause, that'd probably be the fans. Because remember, a lot of the old fans of Pink Floyd, as well as the other acts from
Yes,
the early '70s, like Aerosmith and all them acts, they grew up resenting Richard Nixon. So they're going to be tending towards the liberal side because of some of Nixon's actions during his
I think
reign as president.
there's more excitement for Led Zeppelin reunion with the songs. I don't know. I feel like Pink Floyd would be a little bit. I don't want to call it like a sleeper, but there might be some songs where you're like nodding off, kind of like the Eagles for
Not
me.
really, because However, the thing is with Zeppelin, if they were to actually do some reunion shows, we all know that John Paul Jones would be involved. Jason Bonham would be involved, filling in for his dad, who's been gone since
Well,
1980.
what gets you more excited though? Like Pink Floyd reunion or Led Zeppelin reunion?
Both equally. Enough said.
No, you
Because
gotta
I
no.
because
You
I
gotta
was
choose.
big
No,
because I was big on
no, you
both,
gotta
man.
choose one. You gotta choose one though. Like what had to go?
I would
If you
be
if they
to
were
be honest with you, I
if
would
they were on
probably
the same day,
choose.
if they both announced a tour on the same goddamn date, you only had to see one.
I would have to probably say Led Zeppelin. To be honest.
There you go. That's what I'm
Okay.
leaning towards. Like I feel like Pink Floyd would be more epic. The mysteriousness.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Pink Floyd does have aura about them, seriousness,
Hmm.
kind of like Bush and other bands
Yeah.
to me, or Smashing Pumpkins rather. Just have like a weird, not weird in a bad way, but just you know what I mean. Just a little bit different, brother.
A
A little
mysterious
bit
aura
different.
about them. Needless to say.
They do have. I mean, they do have the pride flag for one of the logos, pretty much for one of the biggest albums. So you going into a little bit of weirdness there, brother.
I don't
When you
think
go
they
on a
were
Pink Floyd
supporting
show.
anything. What? Where'd you get that? Could you repeat that about the? Yeah, I know which album cover you're referring to, "The Dark Side of the Moon"
Yes.
with the rainbow there. I don't think that was ever intended to support anything
Well,
gay because that was years before.
now the LGBT that's the one in there. They wear a lot of Pink Floyd shirts, bro. LGBTQ community. So
Of course, obviously you're going to capitalize that. They're going to look at any rainbow
they
colors
hide
stacked
they
together, and they're going to
hijack
think, "Oh yeah,
they hi-
it's our, they represent us, yeah."
we hijacked the logo, Pink Floyd, Daddy.
And most of them don't
So
even have the album, let alone "Animals," "Wish You Were Here," or "Umagumma" or "Animal Heart Mother."
Dave would pick Pink Floyd reunion.
Mm. I think so. Yes, definitely. And
Look, like it's two whole different. It'll be two whole different like concert experiences. Number one, but like they're just two. I mean, I know it's like both classic rock. You're gonna hear both bands on the same radio station, 1,000%. You're gonna hear The Wall.
hmm
You're gonna hear, you know what I'm saying, or Brick in the Wall song a million
obviously.
times. You're gonna hear, Led Zeppelin. They still like. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you want to go back to rock radio, FM radio, like Led Zeppelin, they do play some different Led Zeppelin songs, but like really for Pink Floyd, like they really only play pretty much brick in the wall. You know what I mean? Like what is the actual song called? The Wall?
Well, the original, there's one that made a big splash on the charts was "Another Break on the Wall" Part Two. Remember, there's three parts on the Wall album.
But the real song, but it's called the one you hear on the radio with with the kids singing the whatever.
Yep,
It's that.
Part Two.
Okay, so like that's pretty much all you hear from Pink Floyd on the radio. Like I mean, you might hear
Comfortably Numb.
bro, like what's that one song with the album where they're walking and it's a flame or something that shakes his hand?
Which one? Go run this by me again. Which song you're talking about?
No, what's the album from Pink Floyd? It's like a white album cover, but it's like two guys and they're shaking each other's
Oh,
hand, but they're like on fire.
"Wish You Were Here."
Yeah, they play that on the radio a lot.
Yeah, the title cut as
Yeah.
well as a
But
smaller.
they run that fucking brick in the wall song to the ground. They really run it down, bro.
Yeah,
They
well, it
play
was
that.
a
It's really
well,
overplayed.
dude, that was probably one of their biggest radio hits in 1980. That was all over the place. I mean, like when you think
They
about
do
it,
play a lot, bro. They play a lot of Zeppelin everywhere. Like Zeppelin, I really think Zeppelin's the more world-known band.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let me go back to going back to part two of "Another Brick in the Wall." That song, I'm not too sure if you ever knew, caused a lot of controversy among the school groups and parents out there because of the line, "We don't need no education." In fact,
We don't
many
need no
kids
education. We don't need no. We
thought
don't need
control.
no Donald Trump.
No,
Dun,
it
dun,
wasn't
dun.
that. It was the fact it
The
was
MAGA down, bruh, bruh, bruh. Yeah, they're gonna
why
make a new song about Trump with that. But
yeah,
that's
but
all but they're talking about. They're talking about all that stuff. It's all the same. Fight against the government, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's all the
it's not
same.
no
On.
why going back to that. School groups across the nation, including in Australia, were upset over Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 because they felt by the tone of the lyrics that it was encouraging kids to not go to school, drop out of school. In fact, I remember my dad telling me and my sister, don't believe what that song says. You do need your education. It took the movie a couple years later for us to figure out what they were trying to get through in that song, as well as the whole album.
That's pretty much their Back in Black.
Pretty much, yep.
Like if they play that wall, if they play the Wall song live, that stadium's going fucking berserk, dude.
Oh, no surprise. Hell, oh, hell. The whole place will go
Who
berserk
sung?
if
Who
what?
sung? Who's
Go
who
ahead.
sung most of the songs in Pink Floyd? Was it Gilmore?
Well, it was basically Gilmore and Waters in the early days. I mean, like up until about Dark Side of the Moon, and soon afterwards, Roger Waters became the principal songwriter and most of the
Mm.
vocalists on some of those songs. Like he sang all the lyrics, basically saw all the lyrics for The Wall and Animals, whereas David Gilmour threw in a few vocal lines here and there on this track, that track. But it
So it's
was
really like anything. Like Waters really is.
He would, I guess, in many eyes of the fans, he was the pink that he put the pink into Floyd.
I'm trying to think of. Trying to like obviously Oasis, like they came back together, and we haven't seen anything yet on that, but
Mm.
like that's just the ticket sales on that, which is so alarming. Multiple dates. I mean, it's mostly overseas right now, but there's some stuff over here. But trying to think, Brown, like what? I mean, you really made some good points. I mean, the Floyd stuff. I mean, look, Zeppelin's not doing nothing. You're getting all you can get from Zeppelin right now is Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience, which they're doing the whole physical graffiti album
Hmm.
plus all the hits for their tour. But I looked into that, and you can't record, you can't use your phone at those shows.
Oh.
So I'm out on the Jason Bonham experience, even though it's really good. Um, I mean, look, like Led Zeppelin, bro. It's just like the Beatles or something. There's sometimes maybe there's just an end of things, but all these people are still alive. And look, this whole Marley thing is insane. The whole Hagar doing the Hagar era Van Halen,
Hmm.
something no one would ever thought. Like, you know what I mean? Joe Satriani. I mean, there's stuff out there that I mean, the Sublime thing would be absolutely breathtaking. I don't know, bro. Just no, there's no words. There's some stuff that you have to go see. There's stuff that will never happen again. Kind of like the same Hagar stuff going on right now.
Hmm.
Um, there's stuff that I mean, there's songs that you'll never hear again. There's songs that like who does like obviously Waters does his thing with the Pink Floyd stuff, but I even saw some videos on that. It's not really that great. Like he's really not that great, dude. Like he's really does not. It's more the theatrics going on and the fuck Trump bullshit that really is the show. Like it's not. I mean, there's like 20 people in the band doing the work really, and 15 backup singers. Like the Roger Waters stuff isn't all too appealing to me, honestly. Especially
No,
the Trump shit. You know what I mean?
I know. I
Like he
think
made
it.
Trump into he made
You know what? I'm
yeah.
down. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I would agree. I'm sick and tired of Waters's politics coming into play every 2 minutes in every interview that he mentions. I mean, it's getting kind of out of hand. And I think if I was Roger Waters, I would step back from the politics and just make some good damn music, okay? And try to make amends with David Gilmour once and for all, because suppose one of them dies unexpectedly. Can you imagine the amount of guilt that they would feel deep down inside, knowing the fact that they were not able to patch things up between those two?
So what if Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin co-headlined a tour together? What do you think about that?
Oh,
That'd be just too
dude.
big. That'd be too big for people.
Every
People would shoot themselves because they don't think it's real. I think that would be too much for people,
If it
honestly.
were to go down, every damn stadium that they ever booked this tour in would sell out within less than 3 minutes.
Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, all remaining living members that still tour
Mm-hmm.
for a 30-day limited world tour. I mean, look, I'm telling you, there's stuff that's you can never say never. You really can, like Pantera coming back, but both of them being dead. Like
The Abbott
bands live
brothers.
forever, bro. Like
What?
there's stuff that is out there that you couldn't believe is like the Foreigner thing is so embarrassing and so disgusting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's shit out there that is like, come on, dude. Like you got to
Pitiful.
really know. You got to know. I mean, there's a lot of good shit out there too. Like Iron Maiden, the best of the best, Creed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're watching the end of Three Doors Down, bro. Like I was gonna see that band every year they come to tour. When they opened for Creed, down, Brad Nick has kidney cancer,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what Jim Ross has, which is
Yes.
pretty much a death sentence. Pretty much a death sentence. So like when the bands come to town, you got to go see them. There's bands out there that suck, that aren't that good. They're out there too, but you have to. I mean, there's more good than bad. If you're into new stuff, the new stuff's out there. It's always going to be there. But like for these bands, these classic, great, epic songs that are timeless, absolutely timeless. Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, very close. I feel like Led Zeppelin has a bigger, more known, and better catalog. Um, honestly, I do. I'll give you. I see Pink Floyd coming back and doing the Sphere more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, out of everything, that's the biggest possibility.
Yep.
Like then, like Sammy, what Sammy's doing. I mean, he's not the Sphere, but like doing these residencies for these older bands, them being able to stay. I mean, look at the Scorpions. They've been doing
Mm-hmm.
residencies for the past, you know,
Couple of
you know,
years.
time here, couple of years. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's kind of what like if you want to see the band that bad, you're gonna have to go to them, to Vegas.
Yeah, true.
And
I
that's what
know.
we're going to start getting. We're really going to start. I mean, we're seeing it now with Sammy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much done with Sammy Hagar. Like maybe a couple shows here and there, a couple casino shows, but like, bro, it's the end. We're talking. The '80s was like 40 years ago. Okay,
I know.
so like, imagine the groups of the '70s. Like, obviously, you have your Sticks, REO. You know what I mean? So like, you still have a good grip of good stuff. Still good.
Ted Nugent. He still tours occasionally here.
And you have the Dr. Earl Brown band coming out. Now you got look. If I had to choose, I mean, I would obviously choose Zeppelin. You know what I'm saying, to go see. Would I go to Pink Floyd? Yes. Would I spend money to see that? Yes. But at a stadium, you really want to see a rock show, bro. You don't want to see like some hippy dippy glow shit. I don't know. That would be pretty cool too. Some stadiums don't have roofs. Some do. You can do more with it if it has roofs. With the lights and shit. But like,
Yeah.
the lasers. But like, I don't know. I feel like more people would get up off their ass and want to go see Led Zeppelin. Obviously, Pete Floyd's the name. Would the general public know who the fuck David Gilmour is?
I think
Like,
it
if they
would.
announce Pink Floyd's coming back with David, I don't know. I mean, compared to like Led Zeppelin, like obviously, if you know Zeppelin, you know Pink Floyd, but like, no, I feel like the Pink Floyd logo is more popular than the Led Zeppelin logo. I mean, besides, I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about the actual. I don't
Well,
know. But if we're talking, look, if we're talking Led Zeppelin logo with the whole, the Goodyear blimp thing
mhm.
with the Zeppelin, I mean, that's pretty damn iconic, Brown. But if you're talking Pink Floyd logo, like album cover, like, Dark Side of the Moon, that's probably one of the most iconic. You know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I call it a logo, but like, I'm just talking visually. Like, if someone sees that rainbow fucking Dark Side of the Moon, they're
The
gonna know what the fuck
prism.
that
That's
is.
what it's prism. That's what it's called.
The prism. If someone
Yeah.
sees that Led Zeppelin blimp,
Or the
they'll know what
that
time it is too.
or that guy with all those sticks tied onto his back on the fourth album.
No one's gonna know what that is. I don't even know what that
It's
is.
called the
What?
Thatcher. I know the look up Zeppelin Led Zeppelin 4 album cover. It gives details on it.
What does it look like? Just some guy with a bunch of sticks on his back? It's not
Well,
iconic.
well, it is iconic. It is. It's like let me
No,
look
it's
up.
not. I've never even seen it, bro. You're gonna tell
Um,
me the guy with sticks on his back, the fucking CM Punk thing you talking about with the spears,
the fourth album. It's a look.
fistful of spears.
Let me give you
Nah,
the.
the
You never
Led
saw.
Zeppelin blimp,
That's the
Zeppelin
first
blimp.
album.
Come on, it's the most iconic of any Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but I'm surprised you never saw the cover for the fourth album.
What songs are on the fourth album?
Oh, Black Dog, Rock and Roll, Battle of Evermore, Misty Mountain Hop, Stairway to Heaven,
Oh,
Four Sticks, When the Levee Breaks, Going to California. One of the most iconic albums. That's the album. That's the album with the main radio
what?
hits. Serious.
You wouldn't agree that Physical Graffiti is their best album?
Well, Physical Graffiti is also another great album, along with Presence, In Through the Outdoor, the Houses of the Holy
Oh.
is a damn good record just as well. But people, of course, it's the fourth that really got. Remember, Stairway to Heaven became one of the biggest songs on radio. And that song is included on the fourth album. Now, it was never titled, by the way. And they basically, I guess what uh, it was identity and branding. After the fourth album was just simply referred to Led Zeppelin 4, the band wanted to establish a stronger, more unique identity. And they felt
All
that
right,
moving
but
away.
I'm telling you, the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, that's way more bigger than Led Zeppelin. Anything, even the
In album sales,
Pink Floyd sold more albums than Zeppelin.
oh yes, I mean Dark Side of the Moon alone.
Really?
Yeah, it came out in
Holy shit!
1973 and it took year and it dropped off the charts back in 1987. And when Pink Floyd came out with the Division Bell in 1994, boom, Dark Side of the Moon popped right back on the charts, along with The Wall and Wish You Were Here. Dark Side of the Moon spent about, I guess, a total of 15 years on the Billboard Top 200. Let's see Garth Brooks, Springsteen, Michael Jackson do that.
So overall, Brown, what do you think? Do you think
You
it's
know
more
what?
possible Pink Floyd's going to come back and do something at the Sphere
I would
overall to
love, you know what?
anything?
To be honest, I would love to, it would be great. It'd be a gift from God above to see both Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin back on the road, back together, performing the songs, presenting the newer crowd of
What what if we got Pink Floyd do a Led
what
Zeppelin song? No, have they toured together before?
they toured many years. Zeppelin toured, Pink Floyd toured in the 70s, Pink Floyd
Well, I
toured in
know
the
that, but
80s
I'm
as
saying
well.
together. Did they do tours together though?
No, unfortunately, no,
Uh-uh.
they never did. And like I said, if you were
So
to do it,
is it like way inappropriate to say like that they would tour together now? It would have to be separate, right? Have to be separate tours. It
maybe
wouldn't like
because
that would be too.
the amount of popularity both bands have. If they were to do a one stadium show together, like I said, the place would be massive packed.
People
But
couldn't handle that. I don't think people could.
exactly
I don't think they would
because
ever. People couldn't handle that, man.
I mean
That's too.
like, when Paul
It's too.
McCartney started this show, when Paul McCartney played the Palace in Auburn Hills back in 1990, when he started touring again, I remember from hearing from one employee at the restaurant I was working at that time, he said the place was packed to the
Ah,
gills.
Brad Gill. All right, brother.
All right.
Well, next week, hopefully, Paul 3 will make it. But
Okay.
we're gonna talk to Paul 3, and we're gonna get the a good time for everyone.
Okay. The prog rock discussion that we were supposed to do tonight.
Yeah, prog rock. We can't do that without Paul. We can't. I mean, this was all built around Paul and Dave and you. Like, we can't have a missing Like, bro,
I know.
Dave and Paul are the king right now
Hmm.
on Raw is War.
Yes.
They're a good duo. I have to say
Yep.
that. But Paul, man, my brother.
Okay.
Hopefully, we can do
Shout
some
out to you,
prog next
Paul.
week. Prog 3 and the the Prog God,
Hmm.
Prog Emperor. We call him the Prog Emperor, Dave Rose, and
Yeah.
Prog 3 by Paul 3.
Tell you what.
That.
Tell you what, Bill. In between now and when we do that show, definitely check out some prog bands like early Genesis when Peter Gabriel was
Yeah.
still their front man, or King Crimson, also well as early albums from Yes, just as well. Emerson Lake and Palmer. Check out Tarkus, Brain Sound Surgery, Trilogy. Check out all those
I
albums.
did actually. I did listen to a King Crimson song the other day, and it
Which
was
one?
not what I was expecting. Like, I don't know. They were. I feel like they
Dun,
were
dun.
black and
Go
there
ahead.
was a video, and they were black and white, and they were. It was not the music I expected to be. I thought King Crimson was supposed to be some gothic Marilyn Manson, Slipknot shit or something, but
No, King Crimson
it's
is
like an old band. It's like an old fucking yeah. I did not see. There's
what's the
so
name of
many.
the song and video that you saw?
I don't know. There was black and white.
Hmm.
It was black and white, and it was maybe Woodstock actually.
I
Did
don't
they play
think
Woodstock?
no. They
You
did
sure?
there was some footage of the original lineup playing Hyde Park in London, England around
Might
1969.
have been that. I mean, it was a famous. Let me look.
Hmm.
Let me see. It's definitely black and white for sure. But the guy looked like dirt. The singer looked like dirty and like a long hair. What you know?
Okay,
Not what I was expecting.
what was the name of the song that they did? King
Let's
Crimson.
see. It was um oh 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Oh man, that's one of the big all-time songs. That was the original lineup.
That's what it
Robert,
was. Yeah,
yep, that
live at
was
Hyde
it. The
Park.
first album, one of their most recognizable songs.
You know what
Robert,
it reminded me of? Fucking Paul Three's band because of the fucking saxophone.
yes, mm-hmm.
Yeah, some weird fucking let's mix 1,000 instruments in one band shit.
Tell you
Fucking
what,
idiot.
Paul, if you're listening,
Nah,
I
Paul,
suggest
get your
you
ass
do
on the
that
call,
song.
bro.
Now, look up that album, In the Court of the Crimson
Look, there's
King.
bands out there that like add an instrument, and it's really cool. Like Paul Three's
Mm-hmm.
band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the
Yes.
saxophone in a rock band, I think is badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, The piano and the organ's cool too, right? You know what I'm saying? But like, you throw that saxophone in there, my brother.
Yep.
Sax.
King
Mine. All
Crimson
right.
did that, most definitely. They had two saxophone players, Mel Collins and Ian McDonald, who would later join the original Foreigner lineup years later.
Dr. Ranch Dressing. Did you want to?
Well, actually, like, let's tell you what.
Dr. Blue Cheese. What do you want to do next? What you want to plan just behind the scenes? See what the boys want.
I get about it. Let's definitely
Bruh,
do.
you're laughing.
What the? Because you got me laughing with the cheesy shit you're saying, dude. Well, actually, next week, we'll definitely get to the prog rock genre as well as good and
Yes.
bad cover songs. I know Dave suggested that in the Discord chat at one point because we got to go deep
Well,
deep
the
into that
best,
just
the
as well.
best, the best cover song ever done was Metallica's version of "Whiskey in
Journey.
the Jar."
Yes, I agree on that one there.
Come on, come on.
I like
That's
that.
bad,
That
bro.
was badass. They did the whoever. Let me look at who did originally did
No one can. I know it's a little deep, but like
Whiskey in the
the
Jar.
best. That was the best, and Metallica really re-record or not. The cover is good. They did a
Hmm.
lot of those guys good. There's a whole. Isn't that Garage Inc. album all covers?
Yeah, it's pretty much old covers as well as the Garage Days Revisited included on there as well.
Yeah, Dave, the Garage Inc. album, Metallica all covers, and Whiskey in the Jar is the best cover song ever done in music.
Yes, and let's
And that honestly, Whiskey in the Jar is like my top 5 favorite Metallica songs. To be
mhm.
honest with you,
And by the way, for the record, I'm looking up Whiskey in the Jar. This.
and that's controversial to say because Metallica has a bunch of them, but
Hmm.
Whiskey in the Jar, the fuck badass video too. They're in like
Hmm.
this house in this room doing the
With
song,
all
but
these
like,
girls.
bro, that's a good topic too.
Hmm.
That's a good topic. So, music news,
Prog rock,
not so much this week.
good
Prog
and bad
rock.
cover songs, good cover songs, bad cover songs just as well because I've heard a few bad covers that were like,
We got
give
to
me a
get
break.
that. We got to get Paul 3 on, man. We got to talk to him.
And by the way, for the record,
It might be a Wednesday night.
yep.
Hey,
By
you
the
never
way,
know.
wait a minute. And by the way, here's something else. Whiskey in a Jar was originally recorded by the Dub Liners, Irish project back from the early 60s. It's a traditional Irish song. And Thin Lizzy did their cover tune of it as well. All
All
right,
right, my
so,
brothers.
all
Well,
right, we'll
tune
see you
in
next week.
into the playoff hockey. It may be. We'll find out tonight if Dallas beats Winnipeg Jets tonight. We will play Dave Rose's team in hockey.
Mm.
And I'm probably going to go to one of those games. These hockey tickets are more expensive this year, but I'm going to go and I'm going to do it in memory and for tribute to Dave Rose. I did see his team last year too, but Dave, I'm going to, we're going to represent you, man. I'm probably going to, honestly, I'm probably going to go buy a snack during the Canadian national anthem. I'm probably not even going to stand for it, honestly. I'm probably going to leave my seat, be honest with you. I'm not going to boo or be asshole, but I'm just going to, maybe buy a pretzel, maybe buy a soda. That's the only thing I'm like,
Speaking of Prince, we got to get his ass on this show once again, man.
he retired. He's old news. Come on, man. He's old news. He's gone. If he wanted to be here, he would be here. You know what I mean?
I don't know why he stepped
Because
away like he did. I mean, crying out
well, he
loud.
does. He is not consistent. That pisses me off. So,
Well, let's make his
but
ass consistent.
well, we need to make you get a haircut, Doctor Brown. You want to go ahead and get some braids, a couple cornrows, my brother?
Oh gosh, you know how shitty I would
Come
look
on.
with cornrows. Tell you what, you get them. You get
My hair's not long enough. Your hair's way longer than
them.
mine.
Get some
Nah, it does take.
They can
Look, it
add
does take.
extensions to them.
it does take time though for them,
Yeah.
to do them and stuff. But nah, Brown, next week
Next week, yep.
have your RFK Jr. blue drink ready, please. We'll be ready for you, my brother.
Okay,
I'm gonna
prog
order.
rock.
I'm gonna order some meth. I'm gonna order some methylene blue. Alex Jones is selling it on
Mm,
his site right now. Methylene blue, and you add a drop or two to your water, and I can't even really understand what it does, but like Roseanne took it. Alex Jones had her on his show, and like a lot of these people took it. I think it cleanses out your
intestines.
like not blood, nah, not intent, like it cleanses out your blood cells, bro, or something like it adds oxygen to blood cell. I don't know, like it's
Hmm.
we're gonna see. It's like you have energy, but you're not on an energy drink. I'm gonna order some soon, and we're gonna, RFK Jr. takes it. It's like electricity through your body, electrocells
Mm.
through your. I don't know. I pick Dave Rose's brain about it. He'll probably know exactly what it is, but
All right, there. Let's hope Dave Rose. We hope we
um,
get Dave Rose on the show once again for the next week's discussion there. All right, so this concludes our episode of Music Maniacs for Wire and myself. We thank everybody for watching and listening in. Don't forget, next week we'll get Paul 3 back on the road with us, and we're going to be talking about both the prog rock genre and the many legends within that range of music, as well as good cover songs and bad cover songs just as well. And plus music news and other tidbits thrown in here and there. So for YR and myself, everybody have a good Thursday evening. And we'll see you all next week, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button and that notification bell.